Welcome in, everybody, to Fourth and a Mile, presented by Planet Adam. I am your host, the Pharaoh of Planet Adam, or God King, if you will. I am Adam Fernandez. Normally, I talk about sports and such on this channel. Today is going to be quite different. I got a really good friend of mine, Pedro Cantu. He is the frontman, the lead singer of a band called Johnny Park. I was about to say Johnny Five, like
Johnny, but
like Short Circuit. Yeah, let's get into it. First off, it is a Foo Fighters tribute band mainly. So why the Foo Fighters as opposed to other bands? I've seen a lot of other tribute bands that do other older bands typically, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I've always loved them. They're always a badass band. And then it took seeing an Ozzy tribute and an Iron Maiden tribute to finally pull the trigger on it, because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a couple of years. I just never got around to do it, and then I moved away. I came back, and then that's when I just decided to go ahead and just pull the trigger on it.
Okay. And of all the Foo Fighter songs, which one is the one you like to do the most, or are there a couple that you like to do more?
Oh, there's a lot of them, man. There's like All My Life, Something from Nothing, Cheer Up Boys, Congregation. There's a handful in there. They're just some awesome bangers.
Is it because you like playing the music, or do those songs mean something to you specifically?
Just the music, man. It's just, I mean, for me, when it comes to, I mean, this is the thing about being a musician, is that you no longer get to enjoy the song for what the song is supposed to go ahead and like emote. You hear the drums and you hear how they recorded it. You hear the guitars and you hear the bass line and you hear, the vocals, and when you start analyzing as to why he did it that way and why they used a microphone 6 inches away instead of 8 inches away, and so on and so forth. That's it's more of the love of the craft than it is the actual song.
Okay.
At this point,
And I know that personally, I know that you're very musically inclined, unlike myself. But I'd love to sit there and listen to music. That's about all I got. But when did you start playing music?
I started playing at 13 years old.
Okay, was that guitar or drums? Or
it was guitar. It was guitar because I remember it was the I was 13 years old. It was back in 1993. They had just come out with the VHS tapes of the Use Your Illusion tour Guns N' Roses did.
I remember those.
You remember those?
Yep.
It was the VHS tapes. There was 2, and it was the Get in the Ring tour. And I'm 13 years old. I had an allowance of $20 a week on top of my chores that I had to do, and then whatever. And I used that money to buy these tapes. And I bought the second one first because that's the songs. Those are the ones that I knew the songs more than the first one did at the time. So I bought the second one. The second one, that one had the medley with Slash, Duff, and Matt Sorum. They started off with Matt Sorum's drum solo, then they came in with Duff, and then Slash finished it off right before they went into Sweet Child of Mine. And I thought it was like the most fucking amazing thing ever. So I was watching it. I'm like, Dad, buy me a guitar, please. I saw Slash, the way he fucking played. I'm like, dude, I want to learn how to do that. I want to do that.
Dude, this is a Pedro, this is a school assignment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, go on. Yeah, okay, no cursing. So yeah, I was like, Dad, come on, please buy me a guitar, please buy me a guitar. And I saved up enough money to buy one, and then he bought me the amp. And then it was an Ibanez POS like learner's guitar. It came with like the Andy Timmons instructional video that I just couldn't wrap my head around at first. I was taught to play piano when I was younger, but I just couldn't connect the two yet. As far as notes go and so on and so forth.
I've always heard that, and a friend of mine told me this one time, that if you can play piano, you can really learn to play guitar or really any other instrument. If you,
that's true. That's very true. Yeah, you can definitely do that. But at the time, I'm 13-year-old brain. No.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
All right, there we go. So Speaking of your childhood, I've told you this before. I thought you actually had a very fascinating, I guess, story to your childhood.
Again.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your father first off?
So dad is an insurance agent in Mexico. He sells insurance to the trailers that go into Mexico, like just all the goods that come in from Canada and the United States into Mexico and vice versa. He insures all the trailers, all the drivers, all the trucks, the merchandise. So he made a killing doing that. From there, he decided to do other things with local governments. So he was with not a company. It's an entity called Secofi. They're pretty much the state of Tamaulipas in Mexico. It's their Department of Agriculture. So they had to like put prices and so on and so forth, and pretty much just find anybody that sells an orange for $1 more or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
So he was in charge of that for a long time, and then after that, he just rose in the ranks as far as local government goes. He was part of a couple of local charities, societies, so on and so forth.
Because he's pretty high up there at least in the state government there now, right?
No. So he got as far as being like he ran 2 offices at the same time. In '99, when I was graduating high school, he ran the Department of Economic Development and Tourism for the state, and then he also was city secretary for Nuevo Laredo. So he had a state position and a local position.
Oh, okay.
And
go on.
And so like he got out of it because that's when the cartel started coming in. They dropped a big pile of cash on his desks, and he said no thanks, and he quit and took off and never went back.
Okay, so there's Cacho.
Yeah,
that's Pedro's dog there, in case you guys don't know the difference in the sound between a dog and a cat. But there is also a very interesting part of the story, I think, in the fact that your mom had been living in Mexico when she got pregnant by your father. She came up to the U.S. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's that.
There we go. Okay. So let's start over with that one.
The loophole is, my mom married one of my dad's friends who was a U.S. citizen. That's how she became a U.S. citizen. And then, of course, the divorce because of whatever. And then my parents were together. And then dad stayed Mexican, mom became a U.S. citizen, and I was born.
And so she raised you up here in, I guess not up here because San Antonio and Laredo are a few hundred miles apart there, but she raised you in Laredo.
Laredo. Yeah, Laredo is where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay.
Border town.
Yeah, border town. And border towns are actually a lot nicer than what people think they are. I've noticed when I went down to Brownsville a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think there's the stereotype of them that they're dust bowls, but they're really not.
No, they're not. No, they really are not. They're you got a lot of commerce going in and out of between two countries. So there's a lot of people that make a lot of money doing that legally, mind you, legally.
Yeah. We're not conflating with the cartels here.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, there's a lot of legal money to be made. A cousin of mine does that. A couple friends of mine do that, and yeah.
Okay. So when you were growing up, and your mom living over here in the U.S., your father living down there in Mexico, were they at all any part of any bit of an influence to you in your musical? I guess.
No. My dad. I asked my dad if anybody in the family has ever played an instrument. He said, "Nadie fue mariachi." Nobody was a mariachi. Nobody was a mariachi. So I was the first one. I was the first one to pick up an instrument in the family. Later on, my cousins did on my dad's side, but they're younger than me, and we did play a little bit there. We had a band going, but no, I'm the first one.
Okay,
I'm the first one to be interested in music.
What about like any of the
on my mom's side too,
or anything?
Huh?
What about the music that they listen to or anything like that?
Oh, mom likes the old school rock and roll, like the 50s, 40s, 60s, and 70s, the Beatles, Eagles, all that stuff, you know.
And I met
Dad
your
was
mom.
always really, really old school.
Yeah, and I met your mom at the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yes, we are in real life. For all those out there in YouTube land, we are actually really friends. We do know each other.
Yes, you were one of the groomsmen in my wedding.
I was one of the groomsmen. Yes, I was probably the best looking groomsman out of everybody. So let's just wrap it up, I guess, with this. Then anybody wants to see, I know you you also do your own solo gigs like you did this past week. If anybody wants to see you play a solo gig or with Johnny Park, where and when can we see you play next?
I'm not sure yet. You might just want to go ahead and look at my Facebook, my Twitter, not my Twitter. Fuck Twitter. No, sorry. F Twitter. Sorry, my bad. School. Sorry.
You're gonna make me get an F in this one.
I don't have anything up coming up just yet. That show was more of a practice show just to like loosen up some bolts and or tighten up some bolts rather, and just see what's going to be happening as far as my shows go. But I'll let it be known as soon as I have a show.
All right, sounds good to me. Everyone, follow him on Facebook, Twitter. Actually, I advertise my show on Twitter all the time, so don't completely get Twitter. All right, everybody out there, we'll see you next time. I plan on actually bringing the sports broadcast back starting Monday or tomorrow, I guess. And so I'll see you all then. Pedro, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
It was a blast.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.